Okay. In the last class, we discussed the basics, that is transaction analysis as well as the construction of balance sheet. We started with business entity concept. So the highlights of the business entity concept: owner and business, not one and the same. The business might be sole trader, the business might be partnership, the business might be firm, or it is a company or any other entity. So from the generally accepted accounting principle, owner and business not one and the same. Business is treated as first person. Owner is treated as the second person. Any other who is interacting with the business is third person. It might be supplier, it might be customer, it might be employees, it might be government entities. So the point is what the second point is, all the transaction, all the transactions considered and recorded from business point of view. This is very, very important. Any transaction that should be considered and recorded from business point of view. And if owner is if owner is interacting, if owner is interacting with the business, so we will in the beginning, if that is the investment, so we will record it as equity capital. We will consider common stock. And also we will consider retained earnings. All other transactions will be considered for retained earnings. If sole trader or partnership is there, we will use as a concept of capital drawings. So whenever owner is dealing, we have to consider separate names. Any other person is dealing, so that we will use with the name first. If he owes to business, so then we will consider as debtor or accounts receivable. If business owes to that particular person, we'll consider as a creditor or accounts payable or loan. So any other person is interacting, we will not use equity capital drawings. This is specifically for the owner. Another thing, owner is different from business, that gives a flexibility that we can record the transaction between these two people. Record the transaction between these two people. Owner, this is the another important. And all the transactions should be recorded from business point. Should be considered from business. And first person, second person, third person category. First person is always business, second person is owner. If owner is involved, we are using some specific terms, not used for others. Others, it might be debtor, creditor. First name is always name will be there. Then categorization, debtor, then accounts receivable, creditor, then accounts payable, or loan in that way. That is what we discussed. Then the second thing we discussed in the previous class is about, let's say a business is established by That means company, I mean, shareholder. We discussed that 1 million example. $1 million is invested by the shareholder. And also they took HDFC back of $500, $500,000. So we started analyzing the transaction without mentioning the debit credit in a conceptual. So business point of view, what happened? We have received $1,500,000 in the form of cash back. Because shareholder is already given 1 million and they will take back only when the business is closed. And HDFC given a 10 years loan and it will be repayable after 10 years. So once they have given this money to the business have the right to use that money. So time being, who is the owner? The owner is the business. Though the cash given in the form of equity by the shareholder, the cash given by the HDFC in the form of loan. Currently, the real owner of that cash is, as of now, the business. So now business owns cash and bank balance. It is considered. Asset categorization, we discussed that current asset and non-current. So what is the current asset? In general, in a layman language, we are trying to understand it. Current assets are those that converted, either it is a cash or cash equivalent or anything that can be get converted into cash within a year. So let's say inventory, finished goods, accounts receivable, debtors. These are the examples that within a year they will transform in the form of cash and cash equivalents. Any other thing that is not converted into within one period or the operating cycle, then all those are considered as non-current assets. So this cash and bank comes under the current assets. So then what? This 1,500,000 is again payable back to shareholders when business is closed. HDFC Bank after 10 years. So that means this 1,500,000 owns by business, at the same time it owes 1 million to the shareholders, the owners, and they represented with equity, common stock, equity shares, equity share capital. And we have a liability, HDFC Bank loan. We have to pay back $500,000. So this is what the equation comes in the single transaction. That is what equity plus liability is equal to asset. That is what the balance sheet. So in the current transaction, there is an equity, there is a liability and asset. So we have equity of $1 million. Liabilities, again, we have two types, non-current liability as well as current liability. Current liability is a liability which is payable within a year. Any other thing that is beyond 1 year or operating cycle is considered as a non-current liability. You can say long-term debt. You can say short-term debt. So we have non-current liability $500,000 because it's payable after 10 years. And we have asset, non-current asset and current asset. Here presently we have cash and bank balance that is 1,500,000. When you do this total 1.5 million, when you do this total 1.5 million, and this is the balance sheet tally, from there we started on analyzing the transaction. So then we discussed about in the last class 1.5 million. They have purchased some assets, some inventory. So inventory converted into the finished goods, and those finished goods are sold it out. And then we discussed how these transactions are affecting the balance sheet. So now what we will do, we will do few transactions from again, up to here is the same thing, but we will do few new transactions today, okay, so that we can understand those things in the right manner. Let's say one more transaction I would like to give you, that $500,000 machinery purchased. Yes, last time that was on cash. Now let's say machinery purchase on credit. Now you tell me, let us discuss. Last time we purchased on cash. So this time it is on credit. Now you tell me, in a general way, I am not talking about debit, I am not talking about credit. In a general way, how it is going to be affected the balance sheet. Machinery purchased on credit. Let's say, let's assume the amount is payable in 3 monthly installments. So now you got an idea that this liability, what we are going to get by buying the machinery, we are liable to pay within 3 months. So that categorization will be easy for you. Now, how it affects the balance sheet? Is it affecting equity? Is it affecting non-current liability? Is it affecting current liability? Is it affecting non-current asset? Is it affecting current asset? How exactly? Yes, please, you can discuss. Anyone can come forward and tell me. Machinery 500,000 purchase on credit, 3 months credit, how it is going to be affected for the balance, in the current balance. Yes, please. Interactive session. You have to interact. If you are not interacting, then nothing happens. Conceptually,
Okay, we
in the above equation, right? We have what is the equation? We have equity, right? Liability, we have the
yeah
non-current liability, current liability. Asset, we have non-current asset and current asset. In this
yeah exactly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in these 5 accounts, what is increasing, what is decreasing, how the total amount is going to be changed. Where
Mm,
this fits in these 5 elements. The elements are equity, right? Non-current
yeah.
liability, current liability is equal to non-current asset and current asset. Currently, we have
Asset was
current asset of
Non-current asset.
1.5
yeah
million, correct? Currently, we have 0.5 million non-current liability. Currently, we have 1 million. Now you tell me how this transaction affects these 5 elements. Which 5 elements? All elements, one element, two elements. Yes, go ahead, please. Yes, please.
Sir,
asset was increasing, so we are purchasing the machinery means asset we
Correct.
are increasing.
Correct. Which
And
asset? Non-current or current?
non-current,
Non-current.
non-current.
Excellent. Non-current asset. Yeah.
and it will
0.5 million
increase liability.
non-current asset in the form of machinery. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Then, are we using
And
cash?
no,
No, we are on the
so
credit, no
it
cash.
it will increase
Yes.
liability.
Yes. Now, this
Liability non-cash.
liability we have to pay within 3 months, monthly installment. So that is
Current
which
liability.
categorization? Current liability, not current. Excellent. There is a
Current
0.5
liability.
million of the current liability is increased. Now you see what happened. What is the total now? 1 million, 0.5 million, 0.5 million. Total The equity and liability is how much? 2 million. And total current and non-current assets of total assets how much? 1.502 million. In this way, it is affecting the trans, the balance sheet items. In this way, it is affecting. Understood all of you? Is this clear, everyone?
Yeah, clear.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's assume 1 month first installment, 2 months, like that. We have paid all the 3 installments. Now tell me, 0.5 million of that current liability gone, correct? So all the first installment, second installment, third installment paid. So what? Somebody else should tell me how it hits the
Current
balance
asset
sheet.
will also reduce because
Excellent.
cash or bank will.
Excellent. Excellent. Current asset will be reduced by 0.5 million. So now our cash and bank balance is 1 million, right? Current asset is reduced. And what else will happen? What else will happen?
So depreciation,
Yes. No, not depreciation. Not depreciation. Depreciation will be calculated at the end of the financial year. So you have paid a liability that represents machinery, which was already recorded in the balance sheet. So that liability is increased or reduced, or what happened?
Reduce.
Reduced. So this current liability is now how much?
0.
Zero. Because we have paid by using this cash. We have paid. Finally, and this is zero. So now again, what is your status? 5 million. And what is the status here? What is the status? 1.5. In this way, we are analyzing. Did we discuss anything about debit credit? So when you become a finance manager, when you become a controller, when you become a chief financial officer, every transaction that is major transaction for your business while taking your decision, you have to analyze it. How my liquidity ratio is changed, how my current ratios, my current ratios are changed, how the solvency ratio states, what will happen on my EPS companies, how how this transaction affects, is there any dilution of funds, how this transaction increasing company's risk. Let's say the company wants to take loan, the company wants to take loan, a company wants to take loan 500,000, more 0.5 million long-term loan the company wants to take from Citibank. Now as a finance manager, now as a finance manager, uh, you have been asked by your controller or the chief financial officer, okay, now tell me, Ashraf, as a management accountant, give me the report tomorrow or a presentation that we are going to take a from Citibank 0.5 million, whether we should take or not. How you will decide? Ashraf or any other person? Are you any other person can discuss on this? कैसा decide करेंगे यार? How you will decide that we have to take a look at?
First of all, based on our capital, how much we have the cash flow.
Excellent. Very good. Cash flow is one of the aspects. That means we have to prepare a capital budget, sorry, cash budget, right?
Yeah. What
working
are the
capital.
incomings and outgoings?
Yes. Before that, one important thing, think as a banker. I have approached you, and are you going to give me this 500,000 loan? Already HDFC loan is there, standing. Would you like to give me? What you will consider as a banker? When
Company assets.
very good. 2 points. Cash flow we have to check, very good. Company assets we have to check, very good. But before these two items, as a banker, I will consider one, one thing.
How much equity you will have?
How much equity we have. Excellent. उससे पहले भी ये पूरी चीजें सेकेंडरी मैटर. What is
Company
Any
turnover.
loans we will have?
loans we will have? Flexible. The company is flexible.
Company
उसका
turnover.
measurement क्या है? Yes, please, someone is telling something.
Company turnover.
फाइनेंशियल्स
Company
देखेंगे,
turnover.
प्रॉफिट कितना था,
Company turnover. Profitability. That is the thing. You know that EBIT concept? How many of you know the EBIT? कैसे calculate करते हैं EBIT? Sales, right? Less COGS, cost of goods sold. Then we will get the gross profit, right?
Minus
Then we will discuss
expenses.
the operating expenses.
Yeah.
Then we will get the operating profit. This operating profit is EBIT. Am I right? All of it.
Yeah,
Correct?
right.
Yes.
Main the revenue. So the source of
Yes.
revenue, how it was done. Based on that one,
Yes.
we will decide.
So now you tell me the EBIT and current interest. Say, let's say 500,000, right? So we are paying a 12% interest per annum. Now you tell me on 500,000, 12% interest is how much? 60,000, correct?
Yes.
Now what is your company's current EBIT? Let's say your EBIT is $600,000. Interest coverage ratio is a concept. Your EBIT is covering how many times your interest. Now you tell me, if my installment, yearly installment interest is 60,000 and my EBIT representing 600,000. So what is my interest coverage ratio? My EBIT covers the interest how many times?
10.
10 times. How did you calculate that? EBIT by interest.
Interest.
If you are a banker, will you give loan to me if this is my status? Yes, please. Tell me. Would you like to give loan or not? If the current status EBIT, interest coverage ratio, that means the company can cover interest 10 times from the EBIT. Now, if you are a banker, would you like to give or not? Tell me. Anybody have idea that EBIT, interest coverage ratio, is 10 times? Is a good sign or a bad sign? You can discuss. Discussion is important. Acha, Azhar is telling, I will not give the loan. Anybody else that you would like to comment on this particular situation?
seems we should give because he can pay 10 times. It looks positive, not negative, I think.
Yes, that's what.
The bank, they are getting the profit. No, the bank main source was the.
वो 10 बार और दे सकता है ना भाई, बोलने का मतलब वो है,
यानी
वो afford कर
करंट
सकता है।
प्रॉफिट 10 टाइम्स 10 इंस्टॉलमेंट अभी दे सकता है वो. उसके ईवीआईटी के नीचे क्या होता है उसकी जरूरत है क्या बैंकर को? इस पोर्शन, नेक्स्ट पोर्शन क्या है ईवीआईटी के बाद? नेक्स्ट पोर्शन, व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट पोर्शन हियर? ईवीआईटी के बाद नेक्स्ट पोर्शन क्या है? इंटरेस्ट. फ्रॉम ईवीआईटी यू विल डिडक्ट इंटरेस्ट. योर इंटरेस्ट इज 60,000. हाउ मच still positive balance you have here? How much positive balance you have here? Yes, please. 540,000 Azhar. Now 60,000 I can pay from this. One more 500,000 loan if I am taking. Is it possible to pay from these 540 that 60? उसके बाद आपके क्या expenses है वो मुझे मालूम नहीं है. I don't bother about your EBIT 600 and current interest you are paying 60. So that means 9 more installment you can pay. Apart from that, I will also look into what is your sales revenue. This sales to EBIT is representing is how much percent. So another important thing is operating leverage in the financial. आपके fixed expenses क्या? If sales are going down by 10%, I will analyze this. How it affecting the EBIT. If I am a clever banker, so I will check the financial leverage, operating leverage. The leverage जो है, slight decrease in sales, is it impacting heavily the EBIT? So there is a change in sales of 10%. What is the change in the EBIT? Is it 50%? So apart from the EBIT, interest coverage ratio, how this interest factor covering my EBIT, apart from that, I'll be focusing this operating leverage. Slight change in the sales. चलो ठीक है, sales तो जा रहा, अगर sales गिर गया तो EBIT पे कितना इफेक्ट पड़ रहा? What is it affecting me? That is it. That's where the ratio analysis comes. अभी हम जो डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, not today, I will not discuss today. I'll only discuss the basics. So what topic we are going to discuss, that's I'm introducing is, that's where the financial ratios come into the picture as a management accountant. You have to have नए CFO. अगर हमारा जो है, हमारा EBIT वो 600,000 है और हमारा करंट लोन 60,000 है. आपका CFO your CFO is arguing, no, we have 9 times more, we can go ahead. But we will calculate the slight change in the sales of 10%. Your leverage is 10%, 50% straightforward decrease in the EBIT. Because your operating expenses, your fixed expenses, your operational leverage is heavily impacting your EBIT. So ये कैसा मालूम होता आपको? Financial leverage, operating leverage जो है वो कहाँ पे मिलेगा? Ratio. Apparently, interest coverage ratio is very good, but the thing is that operating leverage is, because we have fixed assets are more, slight change in the sales is impacting heavily the EBIT. Impacting heavily the EBIT. तो वहां आप जाएंगे, बताएंगे कि this is what. We cannot predict always positive. If something happens, slight 10% का तो margin रखेंगे हम. So as a banker, as a CFO, right hand to the CFO, as a management, that's valuation. Ratio analysis ऐसा नहीं है कि we are calculating in simple mugging up formulas. No. अभी मैंने इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो फार्मूला नहीं बोला, लेकिन कॉन्सेप्चुअली बोला इंटरेस्ट कितने टाइम EBIT को कवर कर सकता है. 10 times somebody as a, did I tell you any formula? And that's where we have to study. That's where Daari Academy will help you how we have to study this. Is this clear, all of you, what I am trying to tell?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, clear.
So one more transaction. Continue करेंगे. one more transaction. That we have purchased inventory of 600,000 on credit payable in 4 months. Now tell me, currently we have equity 1 million. Currently we have non-current liability, that is 0.5 million. Current liability we have 0. Non-current asset we have 0.5 million. And current asset of 1 million, because 0.5 million we have used for buying the. Now you have to tell me, inventory purchased on credit, how it hits the balance sheet and how these 5 elements is going to change. Inventory purchased 600,000 on credit, which is payable in 4 months. So the credit period given by our supplier is 4
Inventory,
months.
so yeah, it's like credit, current assets will increase if it is less than 1 year, and credit, so current liabilities will also increase.
Excellent, wonderful. That's what we have to do analysis. Debit credit को भूल जाओ आप लोग. When bigger picture is there, debit credit automatic आते. So now the point is what? Cash is not gold, but inventory is there. So we have 1 million cash, and apart from that, 0.6 million of inventory is in. Now two current assets. One is cash, another is inventory. So then what is happening? Current liability increases 0.6. Now what is the change? Equity no change, 1 million.
Liability.
Non-current liability no change, 0.5 million. Current liability is 0.6 million. So put together 2.1 million. And here put together 1 million, 0.6 and 0.5. Is this clear, all of you? Is
Yeah,
this
clear.
clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Now tell me, what is the current ratio after this transaction? You know the concept of current ratio?
Current assets by
ratio,
current liabilities.
current ratio is equal to current asset by current liability. Now tell me, what are the current assets we have here? 1 million,
Inventory.
1.6 million. What are the current liabilities that we have as of now? 0.6 million. Now tell me, what is your current ratio? Got it? 2.67. Did you get? Is it right? Current ratio?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the concept of current ratio is what? The concept of current ratio क्या है? इसका मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by the concept of the current ratio, according to you? According to you, what is the concept of current ratio? क्या समझे आप current ratio का मतलब?
सर करंट एसेट्स कितने हैं, मतलब करंट लायबिलिटीज के बनस्बत?
Okay, you're near, but not clarity. No, some clarity should be there. What exactly current ratio means? इसका मतलब क्या है?
The position of company or ability.
The position of company,
Hmm.
the position of company, current assets are better or liabilities are better.
Okay.
How much current assets we have against the current liability?
Okay. Good. मगर clarity के साथ बोलना. Excellent. The clarity is what here is that, right?
The company's ability to pay current liability of current
Excellent.
assets.
Yes. क्लैरिटी के साथ बोलना बोले तो $2.6 million I have a current asset. Current liability is $1. For every $1 of current liability, we have 2.6 million of current assets. अगर टुडे करंट लायबिलिटी होल्डर्स आपको डिमांड कर दिए भाई हमारे पैसे वापस दो, कंपनी विल बी इन लिक्विडिटी क्रंच. 2.6 million minus 1 अगर हम दे दिए ऑल एसेट्स, so still we have current assets how much balance, कितना बैलेंस रहता है हमारे पास करंट assets. पूरे पूरे क्रेडिटर्स पूरे करंट लायबिलिटी होल्डर्स आपको डिमांड कर दिए कि भाई कम ऑन गिव अस बैक आवर मनी. So every $1 of current liability representing how many dollars of current asset? बोलिए. $2.67. For every $1 of current liability, we have in company $2.67 of current asset. If today we have paid the total current liability, how it is changing the balance sheet position? Current liability will become zero, current assets 1. Okay. Good position or bad position?
Good position.
बहुत ज्यादा करंट एसेट्स है हमारे पास.
सर करंट एसेट करंट रेशियो जितना बड़ा होगा आई थिंक वो बेटर है.
या करंट रेशियो जितना बड़ा होगा उतना बेटर है, लेकिन एज ए फाइनेंस मैनेजर, एज अ मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटेंट, आई डू नॉट वांट टू वेस्ट माय फंड्स. क्यों आइडियल प्रोडक्ट रखूं मैं? व्हाई यू आर गेइंग सेफ गेम? एफिशिएंट
लेकिन
फाइनेंस मैनेजर,
लिक्विड
एफिशिएंट मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटेंट का क्या रहता रोल? आइडियल फंड्स भी नहीं रहना, लिक्विडिटी
हाँ
क्रंच भी नहीं
तो
होना.
आप इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं मतलब इक्विटी या डेट
हाँ,
या जो.
short term investment, go for marketable securities. This is what we expect as a management accountant. That's the thing. So these are the things that current ratio. तो ये 2.67 आइडियल रेशियो है या कोई दूसरा है रेशियो? Is there any ideal ratio of current ratio according to you?
It depends upon the industry.
Industry, excellent. It is not 2:1 ratio. It's always depend upon the industry. Today industries has a airline industry बहुत ज्यादा वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेज करना पड़ेगा, right? बहुत heavily expenditures है. So all these matters, industry, EBIT ratio also, interest coverage ratio also depends on industry average. So as a banker, I will check industry average is how much, this company average is. In this way, we will try to analyze these transactions. This is what. Did we discuss debit credit groups? हम discuss.
No.
So ये 5 elements को आपको सामने रख के analyze. Is that clear, all of you? Let's move. I'm not going to blah blah things. This is assets, liability, equity, okay. Current assets बोले तो क्या, right? All these things I'm giving notes to all of you. So I do not want to waste this time on this. That is your duty. You have to. At higher level, what is important, that we will focus. Rest of the things will be given in the form of notes. If you have doubt, you interact with me personally. I will be chatting with you or talking. But never ever I will focus on these things. ये तो that's what we teach. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? That is not there in the books. We teach that is not there in the books. Understood, all of you? Are you enjoying the session?
Yes, yes.
New students, tell me. Are you enjoying?
Yeah.
ये देखो,
Yes, sir.
ये दिख रहा है आपको?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
इसका मतलब क्या है? Beyond the books, this is what we are doing. A different way of those things. So these notes I will be sharing after this class, and that's what we are discussing, financial statement analysis. So ये theory पढ़ने से कुछ नहीं, जो अभी मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, bits and pieces पे बोल रहा हूँ आपको, just रेशियो का फार्मूला आप ही बोलेंगे, मैं नहीं बोलूंगा, उसके बाद आप नोट्स पढ़िए. these things, these we have notes. So what how many financial statement analysis, horizontal analysis, vertical analysis, ratio analysis, right? And we are not focusing on these two. We will be come back after discussing the ratio analysis. We will come back here. So I will be giving these notes too. So again, the ratios. So in the next class, I will be focusing on this. Presently, my focus is on liquidity ratio. In that liquidity ratio, also my focus is current ratio. So we have liquidity ratios, activity ratios, solvency ratios, profitability ratios, market ratios, in-depth analysis, in-depth. Just CA फाइनल के बच्चे पढ़ते हैं वैसा पढ़ेंगे. That आप CA फाइनल का भी जाके एग्जाम लिखेंगे तो पास होते हैं. That. So very simple, very simple. When you attend class, you feel comfort. That's so. This is another note. So now my focus is on this. So let's solve case bits. Case bits. Okay, my focus is on current ratio, that is current asset by current liability. What is the meaning of that? Also, I have explained you. Now we have these transactions, case rates. I will be focused on. Okay, so now we read the question number 1. All should take your phones and answer me for this question number 1. And that's where how Daari Academy deals. ये क्वेश्चन आप लोग करेंगे और इसका आंसर मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे करेंगे. I will be waiting for your answer. So the think time will be given to you 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you have to solve and send me your answer on WhatsApp. And all should answer. यही यही होता है दारी एकेडमी. We will give think time. We will involve yourself after discussing basics. We will involve yourself to do. We force you to do, and then we will explain.